Welcome everyone to SEO Office Hours. My name is Michael Chidzey. I'm an SEO here at Good Signals. And part of what we do, along with special guests, are these office hour sessions where people can jump in and ask their questions around their website and web search. By the way, nobody here is in the hot seat and we might not know all the answers, but multiple heads thinking about a problem should help. We have a bunch of questions submitted already, as you can see, which we can go through. But if there's anybody on the call that would like to ask any questions, please do. Just flag yourself in the chat functionality and that will be monitored. Also, please feel free to share your perspectives. I think that's one of the best things about SEO Office Hours is that we've usually got a bunch of SEOs on the call and they share their thoughts and we try and tackle the problems all together, which is great. Like every week, with me today is Jo Juliana Turnbull, also known as SEO Joe Blogs. Morning.
Hello, Mike. Hello. And we're really excited to have another edition of SEO Office Hours with our two special guests, Ebere and Nik today. As Mike said, my name is Jo Juliana Turnbull, and I run a remote digital marketing consultancy business here in Barcelona, and I help clients improve their organic and social visibility. I also run a networking group called Search London. We're turning 13 years old in just over a week, and also another networking group in Barcelona called Search Barcelona. So thank you all of you for joining us live today. And for those of us watching the show afterwards, if you're enjoying what you're seeing today, which I'm sure you are, please click a like on the video and subscribe to the Good Signals YouTube channel. So I'm really pleased to have today two special guests. We have Nik and Ebere. So Nik actually has been joining us in some of the other SEO office hours, and he's an SEO consultant. He is a consultant working with Webflow and working in the SaaS industry as well. But his true love is SEO. And actually, he's going to be in SEO Vibes Dubai next week. That's from February 22nd to 24th. And you can also meet him at Digital Olympus in the Netherlands, taking place May 31st. And really pleased to also have today Ebere. She's been an active member of the SEO office hours for, I think, since the beginning. And actually, she came to my Search Barcelona as well in November. It was good to see her in person. And Ebere is actually organizing her own conference. This conference is called Search African, and it's in Lagos, Nigeria, on May 17th. She's a big part of the community active in Women in Tech SEO. She's a freelance SEO consultant. She also spoke at Search London, and she contributes to a lot of newsletters and blogs in the industry. And you can find her also at Women in Tech SEO Berlin in June. So I'll share their LinkedIn links in the chat. And thank you very much, Ebere and Nik, for joining us on the show today.
Thank you for having us today here.
Thank you, Joe.
What's it like, just out of interest, setting up your own conference? How's that going?
I don't want to say exciting, but somehow it's exciting. But then with lots of pressure, having to know that you have guests to take care of, then running around looking for sponsors, getting rejections from sponsors, looking for speakers who really deliver what you want the audience to, because they're all looking forward to coming to get real value. And then you're trying to get speakers that will accept to come speak with not much pay yet, as we don't have much sponsor, and then deliver value. But at the end of the day, it's exciting because when I get all of those comments from enthusiastic attendees telling me how they are looking forward to coming to their first SEO events happening, how they have always been looking at all the big events happening in Europe and America, and they are wishing that they are there, and now they have the opportunity to have one here. So all of those keeps me motivated. Yeah, we should do this and we can do this. So it keeps me excited, but definitely it comes with stress and pressure.
Yeah, I bet. Joe, you're actually a sponsor, right? Speaking of sponsors of that event?
Yes, Turn Global is a sponsor.
Yeah.
When Ebere mentioned this, I thought it was great. And we were talking about it when you came to Search Barcelona. You have a couple more sponsor slots, don't you, Ebere? Maybe you can share them in the chat as well so people can sponsor.
Yeah. Yes, please. We are still looking for networking sponsor and our speaker sponsor. If anyone wants to sponsor, I will just drop the page here.
Amazing. So if anybody knows anybody, please pass it on. Okay, so first question is a regular question, which is just, what are you most excited about in SEO at the moment? Who would like to kick off? Nik?
Yeah, I can do that. Yeah, currently the most exciting thing about the SEO, like for me personally, is like usage of AI for sure. So I think appliance of AI and everything that's going on in the industry currently is something that I'm looking forward. So that's going to be like the main topic of this conference in Dubai. So it's actually appliance of AI and how we can actually use that to the best possible way. Clearly, maybe I will not reveal that. Maybe I'm for AI, maybe I'm not. But for now, that's something that's going as a hot topic. And for me personally, it's the main topic in the SEO world for the past few months, for sure.
Great. Ebere, what about you?
I think the bubble keeps coming up so fast. There are many things to be excited about, and on Twitter, there are a lot of things about SEO, this and that, and I don't even know what I'm excited about. But I think as he said, a lot of people are talking about AI and SEO, and maybe I'm excited about that. Yes, GE, I'm looking forward to seeing how it pans out. Because most times when I'm searching for something, I just notice that I want to look at what they are doing first, what the SGE comes up first before I scroll down. So I'm looking forward to seeing how SEOs navigate that and what Google has in mind, if they're going to roll it out eventually or if they're going to scrap it.
Great. Joe, what about you? Anything that you're excited? It's hard for us. We get this question every week. We've got to come up with something else, haven't we? What are you excited about in terms of,
Well,
yeah.
I'm really excited about all the events. So actually, we talked about this last week. There was a great webinar that Shima did with Aledo Solis last week. And this week she had I'll just share in the chat now. There was a webinar with Diana Richardson, Write Smarter, Not Harder, How to Future-Proof Your Content with AI. So that was very interesting. So you can also watch the replay if you just fill in the form there. I'm also excited about some other in-person events. So SEO FOMO, that was in Barcelona at the end of January. That's actually now in April. So that went out on Sunday in the latest releases newsletter. And also, so I have to say, Searchline's birthday event, 13 years old. It's taking place on February 26th, and we've sold 70% of tickets. Still looking for some sponsors, but actually, hey, Mike, you're a sponsor of the cakes, aren't
Yeah,
you?
that'd have been awkward if I wasn't a sponsor. Then you're like looking for sponsors. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. This week I've been playing about with SEOtesting.com quite a bit. There was basically a client wants to use it, and I found that really interesting. It pulls data from Search Console, and because I've only been playing with it this week, I've had to date quite a few of the tests, but that's been quite interesting to just isolate changes that you've made to see what difference they've made. But obviously you take it with a pinch of salt because there are so many changes happening. So yeah, but because a lot of it does by time, as opposed to there's Search Pilot where they split up templates and so on. Okay.
Yeah, just
Oh, sorry, good.
no, just a couple other things some people are mentioning. And also just want to say hello to everyone that's joined us. John, Danny, Sandeep, Steve, Simona, Sismon, Simon, Johnny, Oluya, Natalie, Samantha, Sandra, and Neil. Thanks for joining us today. Yeah, we have a couple of comments here. So one is I'm excited to see what happens with Reddit. Yeah, that would be interesting. And also Simon's also mentioned about beginning to shift away from JavaScript frameworks and back to flat HTML from a tech SEO perspective. This is great. So thanks, Simon and Steve. If anyone else has anything they're excited about, please write in the chat.
Great. Okay, so first submitted question. I'm going to share this website with the people on the call. I don't think we have permission to share it on YouTube, so we'll avoid actually saying the brand, but I'll put it on here for anybody that's on the call. So basically somebody has submitted this website and they've said, I was wondering whether you'd be able to help me diagnose a traffic/ranking drop. At the end of January, I experienced a sudden drop in traffic rankings over 3 days and my blog traffic halved. The drop seems to be affecting most posts and pages across my site, and I can't seem to figure out what has caused it. Is this something you'd be able to help with? So I did share this URL with the speakers beforehand, but yeah, did either of you get a chance to have a look?
Yep, I can start or better.
Nick.
Okay, regarding like the website, yeah, so there is a problem that we cannot mention the name, as you mentioned, but regarding like the drops, there is like few patterns. First one, like I need to say, like the up in the traffic, because we have access to Ahrefs, it's like third-party tool. So two big spikes in the traffic happened when Ahrefs actually added like extra set of keywords. So they enriched their library, and by default, some of those millions of keywords that they adding will be like assigned to site. So for me, that was like pretty synthetical grow. But in the moment, I can say I had a look to analyze a little bit what's going on. First, what I can say, if maybe like someone who is in charge for that site is listening, is like that they will probably need to optimize meta description, because the whole site is like completely without meta descriptions. Second part is like problem with the actually name of the site. So the whole site is affected by seasonality. So basically, as we said, if you like talking about some different terms, like in some period of year, we're gonna have like bigger search, that's like natural. So basically, if we want to go to the beach, we will not look like for those terms at the winter. So same stuff goes all the way around. So this website is heavily affected by that. And we can say that when we analyze like top pages, and we can even see that like more evergreen articles are still performing. There is no big drop. And basically, unfortunately for them, it's only one page. But regarding like super seasonal articles, those articles have the massive change because their niche is not suitable for winter, to say in that perspective. So that is some of the things from top of my head. Clearly, the anchor text optimization is not the best, but we can pass that for some more in-depth analysis there. So that's some overview things that I found out for this exact website.
Okay, interesting. Ebere, did you get a chance to have a look?
Yeah, I took a quick look at it, and aside from what Nik has mentioned, I was thinking it could be a technical issue that could have caused that, but when I looked at it, I didn't really see any serious technical issue, like they didn't switch to any new website or migration or any stuff like that. But I noticed that the drop started around September, and it kept going down. It kept going down all the way till now. And we know from September, October, August, there have been broad updates, different kind of updates from Google back to back. So I'm just imagining that one of these updates or all of the updates affected them, because I noticed that they are ranking for up to 455 keywords, that ranking top 3 in the SAP. But then they dropped, the keywords that was ranking dropped to 53 or thereabouts. So this could have contributed to the drop in traffic, and it keeps dropping. So if any of them is listening, I would just advise they dig a little bit deeper to see, okay, what is happening, which page is dropping, and check the competitors that are now ranking to see if there's something they are doing differently, if it is Google attacking you because of the content or something else, then they can work around that. But they need to look a little deeper to see.
For what it's worth, I don't think it's Google actively attacking the website. Just Joe, did you get a chance to have
okay, just because John is here, so
did you get a chance?
I had a quick look. So I think there's a really good points what Nik and Ebere said, so I won't repeat that. I also looked a lot about some of the backlinks as well, because I've done a lot of backlink analysis and link removals back in the day. It did look like they saw some change over the past couple of months. So I don't know if maybe they had a big peak before, maybe they were launching their different products and they got a lot of exposure and then they stopped having that much exposure. That might be something. But back to one part of the question where they said, yeah, help me to diagnose a traffic rankings drop. I would really look at your Google Search Console, because that does help a lot. Look and see at the pages overall. Have you got the same number of impressions, but just less clicks? Or maybe there's something changed within the backend system. Maybe you've changed some of the meta descriptions, or maybe some of the content you've changed, and so the call to action is different, so you're getting less clicks to that. And I would also look to see, as you have been adding more content, Is some of that competing with the previous content that you've had? So definitely look in Google Search Console to see where you've seen that drop, which pages, and then try and isolate that. There might be cannibalization, or there may be the fact that you've changed the content, or you've maybe been affected by the updates, and so your click-through rate has dropped.
Yeah, lots of interesting points. I had a look as well, and I was looking at a couple of the blog posts that seem to have lost the most amount of traffic. And to be honest, just comparing them to what other pages rank really well, there isn't actually a lot of content on those pages. It's a lot of embedded content from places like Instagram. I can't see any, there aren't any sort of unique photos or anything like that. It seems like they're just embedding other people's stuff. And just even looking at things like the About Us page, although there's a first name, there isn't anything else to it. So I just wonder if maybe they're losing out to websites that are being a bit more in depth on these subjects with more options. And sorry, for anyone that's watching on YouTube, it's basically a beauty website. And so one of the pages I'm looking at the moment is about recreating nails, and that's one of the top blog posts, but there isn't actually a lot of content on that page. It's just a few lines per item, and as I said, it's just pulling in photos. So I'd almost look at what they were ranking for before and think about, is this actually the best possible option? Because I'm just looking at a few of their top posts, and there seems to be affiliate links in there and so on, and it could just be that just the overall quality needs improving. Did anything in the chat, Joe?
Yeah, there was. So Sandra was just mentioning maybe verify your index strategy. So type in your site, then domain.com. She said she found some strange pages being indexed, and also around like the fact that blogging is under lifestyle, like the blog section is not easy to access. It's a different category, a drop-down menu. I would check that, and yeah, that's it so far.
Also, those sort of popular pages or those popular posts are all from 3 or 4 years ago. So it might be a case of just needing to update those pages as well. They just might be a bit old. Maybe trends and fashions have changed a little bit since then. Okay, great. Next question. Do you think that Google's latest update turned out as intended? I don't think they want to push Reddit as much as this. Oh, who would like to go first?
Chat.
Ebere, what about you? Would you like to start?
Oh, sure. Oh, sure, that's fine. So I want to understand the question, so I'm waiting for Joe to put it on the comment section so I can read it properly. They don't think they want to push Reddit this much. So the point is Google's updates generally. If it keeps going as they intended, there wouldn't be more updates. So Google is just going to figure out, okay, we need 20 updates to fix everything we need on the website, on internet, and everything is fine. But things doesn't work that way. So sometimes they roll out an update and it doesn't work the way they intended to, and then there's a next update, and then there's another update to curb that. So it may not go as intended from the person's perspective, but it may go as intended from Google's perspective. And if it doesn't, Google is going to roll out another update to fix that. And that's why we keep seeing updates after updates. That's just my thought.
Great. Nick?
For sure, like I can just add on this. I also think that it's not, maybe pushing user-generated content was like intention, and for sure, to some perspective, it's even logical for me because users can share different users' need maybe the best. But I think it was like in some part a bit overwhelming with especially Reddit and Quora growth in the past year. So I think in attempt to fix that and everything that's going on right now is something that is just a consequence of that maybe some things were like over the limit for a bit. And I think it was like just a period of adjusting and finding the best balance out there.
Joe?
I don't have anything else to add apart from what Ebere and Nik were saying. There's going to be updates, and Google wants to deliver the best user experience and the best search results according to the user queries. If in this last case that perhaps there were some queries that appeared higher than maybe they intended, the next update may regulate that or may amend that. So
Great. There
Nothing
was a
else.
really good cast with Lily Ray and Joy Hawkins from Sterling Sky. I think it was last week, talking about this, and they were just going through some examples. And I think where it's most frustrating is probably more so on your branded terms, where they were giving some examples where it might be your branded terms and then a thread about whether it's a scam or something like that. In fact, we had a similar question on here a few weeks ago as well. But they talked in quite a lot of detail about that. And so that was a whole hour. So I definitely recommend that. One thing I did take away from that podcast is not to start spamming Reddit. If you notice that a particular Reddit thread is ranking for some of your from some terms that really matter. But personally, I love Reddit threads on certain topics and so on. Obviously, you don't want it ranking for your brand terms, but getting other people's perspectives on a certain topic is usually quite helpful.
Yeah, so that was the idea. So maybe Google wants to share this forum. So from the person asking perspective, it feels, oh, this doesn't work. Are you sure Google wants to share all of this Reddit? But then Google wants us to read more because users want to read more. If I'm trying to figure out how to do something that requires personal experience, I tend to read more of Quora and Reddit more than blog because I want to get first-hand experience from real users. And maybe Google noticed this and they want to test it out and see.
Yeah. Great. Okay. Next question is, okay, as an SEO freelancer, what other in-demand services could I offer? Is branching into paid ads, social media marketing advisable?
I wanted to.
No, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Or no, you can start, like, whatever.
I know
Ladies
what-
first.
No, well, I just wanted to say that maybe this person is thinking about this because, of course, of the talk around AI. As an SEO freelancer, you can be I think I was discussing this with some other people, a full stack SEO. So you're or a multidisciplinary SEO. You have a lot of skills within SEO, not just tech, you're not just copywriting, you're not just digital PR. And if you are experienced, if you have clients, if you are enjoying what you're doing, then I would continue to do that. I wouldn't necessarily say, oh, I need to go into social media, I need to go into paid search to try and get more clients. I would only do that if you actually have an interest in it, because there is so much within SEO that you can do. If you don't want to do specifically SEO, you can also go into the analytics, go into GA4, Looker Studio. So I would focus on what your strengths and adhere to and build on them. And if you're taking an interest in another area of marketing, then go that, but don't feel the pressure to do that.
Great. Nick?
Yeah, it's actually like super helpful because like just step up there. I could agree with that. I think like that even like SEO is so divided, so you have so many branches there. You can focus on each of them. And to be honest with you, I think that even if you focus on one, you cannot be like that good in some other stuff. So maybe you can be good in copywriting or like content part of SEO, but there is like always like tech or digital PR, backlinks and stuff like that. But regarding like some in-demand services that I always like push, like maybe like hands with SEO is like clearly like conversion rate optimization and UX. Those two things are for me personally something that I think and consider the most like important, and actually they're very applicable with SEO, because like without good UX and without conversions at the end of the day, SEO is not SEO. SEO is just like some other channel. Regarding like specific question here, maybe a question was like aimed towards like different digital marketing channels for purpose. I would say like that both of those, especially like socials, can be also to some extent organic marketing. And I guess like it is okay, but personally I don't like, I wouldn't like ever look towards paid marketing or socials. I would look more towards something that is purely related with SEO so that you can expand it in that way.
Great. Ebere, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree with what everyone else have said, but I will advise the person asking to look at what you're already doing and what your clients are also requesting already. Because most times, like I do mostly technical SEO, but then I noticed that my clients, sometimes they ask me to help with their websites, press and more technical stuff. And sometimes they also ask for content. So these are the things that they're already requesting for, and then I can go ahead and expand on that. So you can look around and see what is already in demand and is close to what you are doing, so you can expand your skills instead of going far away from what you have or what people are asking. Because, for example, if I start offering socials, most of my clients are not requesting for social media yet, unless I'm trying to build a digital marketing agency that is offering everything, and then I propose this to them. So look at your talents, look at what is already within you and what clients are already interested in, that you can easily propose to them based on what you've been working on, and it's easy to get buy-in from there. Another thing is maybe this person is thinking of the whole, oh, SEO is going away, SEO is dead, and then I need to quickly get another skill to add to this so that when SEO goes away, I'm still there in the market. So if that is the case, or probably the person is just bored and looking for something else. So if that is the case, just think of something exciting for you that you've already done before that you want to expand on. It could be user experience, it could be data analytics, it could be marketing, digital marketing analytics, or social media.
Great advice. I've always found that whenever I've got involved in things that isn't what I'm best at, that's when I've not enjoyed it quite as much, and things may have gone wrong or whatever, or I'm trying to keep up with things. And actually, I find it hard enough to just keep up with everything that's going on in terms of SEO, podcasts that I listen to, and posts consume, and conferences I go to. I couldn't imagine doing that also for social media, also for something else and something else.
Exactly.
Yeah, my preference over the years has been to really focus on being really good at SEO as opposed to being so good at multiple things. And I personally think there will always be a place for it. Yeah, I'd spend that time trying to build up your SEO business or keep up with trends personally, because as I said, from experience, I've tried doing lots of other things, and they've been the things that I've just been like, oh, why did I do this? Why have I agreed to this?
Yeah, you don't want to be maybe what they call a jack of all, or a Jane
Right.
of all trades and a
Yeah.
master of none.
Yeah.
We have a couple of comments
Yeah.
here. Chris was saying a few years ago, with the idea of a comprehensive holistic approach, I offered everything, but I've pruned it back to focus only on SEO, including UX, to be better at one thing holistically rather than trying to do everything. And Simon saying, focus on what you're passionate about. Yes, totally agree with both of those. Try not to, I think there's lots of things happening in the outside, and you might think, oh, I need to do X, Y, and Z, but it's best just to focus on one thing and do it well, and people will know you for that.
Yeah.
Yes. Simone saying, yep. After 2 decades of working online, I couldn't agree more. So, yeah, what you're passionate about and what you enjoy as well.
I
Yeah.
think digital marketing is really so broad that you can't focus on everything. You
That's
just have
true.
to choose a niche. Even inside SEO, there are still some niches that you need to focus on again. So doing SEO alone is broad enough. Then you want to add SMM, unless for some reason you just want to move away from SEO to something else.
Yeah, totally. There are so many different areas just within SEO, isn't there? Whether you want to get better at the PR side of things and earning those links and creating content and so on, or whether it's video or whatever, just within our space, there's already so much. I hope that was helpful.
Mhm.
I think it was for the person. Next question. Okay, so when doing link building outreach for clients, what approach do you recommend? Outreach as the client, as a persona, or as oneself? What do we think?
I like usually my approach is like directly, because I like that like straightforward process, so that you can actually like see and check like face to face what is going on, if there is like some benefits and stuff like that. But I personally, that's like my approach. Maybe creating persona is in some occasion better, but I guess like with this like direct approach is for me, like it's showed as the best one, because you have the most control in it.
Joe?
I would say, so I've done a lot of outreaching for clients, and I always liked to do it on behalf as my name, but like on behalf of the client. So
Yep.
with the email address from the client's domain or the agency, because otherwise it looks like you're just some random person and you have no sort of connection to that, to their Yeah, you might
I
look
think
like spam. It's always best, I'd say, to be quite honest and open and say who you are. And obviously that would help you too within getting a response because people can see you're an actual person behind the name. And a lot of people get too many emails. So make yours stand out. Be genuine.
Berry?
Yeah, I simply agree with what everyone else have already said. It makes sense to do it by yourself. Like all of the DMs we receive on LinkedIn, most times we just see the spam and then we see it as spam and we don't open it. But when we receive a DM from someone we know, we immediately open it and read it and try to respond to it. So when you come out as yourself, like you're networking with the person, is someone you already know, it is natural, it connects with the person. But when you do it as a personal, someone that the person doesn't understand, first is more difficult, and then the return on investment is not that easy. So I agree with do it as yourself.
Yeah, I think about 15 years ago, probably used to do testing and things like that with different personas and so on to just see about open rates and stuff like that. But to be honest, nowadays, I prefer to build relationships with journalists and bloggers because chances are you might want to approach them again with a story, whether it's with that current client or a different client. So I think it's a lot easier just to be yourself rather than trying to do stuff. But yeah, we used to test things from just out of interest. If you had this profile photo or if your name was this or whatever, just to see what open rates look like and response rates, and used to record all of that. But yeah, that was a long time ago. Now, yeah, my focus would totally be just being yourself. And also people also go and check you out on LinkedIn and stuff like that. And I think it's really confusing. Some clients often say, no, we want it to be via our domain because they want to have a record of anything in terms of who you've gone out to and so on. But personally, I try and fight that a little bit because I just think it's confusing when somebody looks you up and then you don't actually work for this company, you work for this one. Great. Anything in the chat, Joe?
Yeah, so Chris saying that I see natural link building as networking, being yourself will build that network. So as we mentioned, being honest. And Simon's saying about openness and honesty has always worked for him. So yeah, that's good. And that's a great point that you mentioned anyway, Mike, around you're saying that clients, you don't suggest having the email address from that client's account. But if you're an agency, then you can then say, oh, hi, I work for this agency.
Exactly.
And yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's what I do. And that's what PR agencies do as well on behalf of a certain brand or personality. Okay, this should be a fairly short one. Is it okay to request indexing on Google Search Console manually, or does it affect the potential of your page ranking? I'm assuming this is around the inspect URL and then submit a URL to indexing. Yes, I'm going to jump. Yeah, of course it's fine. Yes, it is fine. But I think, does anybody else want to add anything to that?
It is fine. And I think it's even advisable when you kickstart the website, especially with a new one. And if you have some of the pages, you can use that limit of, I hope it's still 11 pages that you can manually request per day. So I guess there is no any negative impact regarding that.
I'm just trying to understand what you mean by potential of your page ranking. Does it affect its not ranking or what? Because I know indexing is the first step and it doesn't have anything to do with ranking. So it gets indexed first, then decide if it rank or not based on the content, the authority, and everything else that comes with it. So it doesn't, I don't see it affecting ranking.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, perhaps this person maybe was a bit confused because they thought maybe they'd be penalized if they actually requested this to be indexed. So they thought it would affect them like in the future, but no, that is not the case. It would not negatively affect your site or that URL.
Yeah, I think when you've got, it's a really nice feature when you update a page or add a page, it's a nice sort of nudge to say that I've done this, and it's not there to penalize you or hurt you. How are we doing with time? I'm sorry, I'm doing a terrible job here. We
have 21 minutes left, so actually we're doing quite well. So I just wanted to say thank you everyone for joining us again live, and those that are watching afterwards, click a like to the video and subscribe to the wonderful Good Signals YouTube channel. And of course, if you'd like to join us live, then just go to SEO Office Hours on the Good Signals website, and I'll just drop it in the chat here and drop it in the description. So you can join us live, all our attendees here. We've got a very international SEO office hours also dialing in from Kenya, Scotland, Belgrade, Zurich, Lagos, Barcelona, London. If there's any place that I haven't mentioned, please drop in the chat.
And
Thank
do
you.
you have any questions in the chat at all?
No other questions, actually. Chris was just mentioning off the back of the last question that he would wait until everything is ready beforehand, so you're not sending too many requests in a short time. So that's a good point about the requesting indexing. Don't keep doing it all at the same time.
Great. Okay, next question. Is it unethical not to declare the difference between do follow and no follow backlinks to your boss when working on a link building project?
Oh, we are getting in a gray zone here.
Yeah, very good. Yeah.
So like, yeah, this is interesting and super. I'm like, I can say like from experience, no, I don't think so. I think every link, every signal that you're getting there is like affecting the website in the positive matter. So no matter if it's do follow or no follow. The why I think it's a gray zone, because if you promise do follow links and then you like build some no follow and don't like request that, pardon, don't report that, that can be like some sketchy method to do things. But overall, I would like always advise to not focus that much like on do follow or no follow. It's not important until the link is relevant and like natural. And I guess like with both of those, you will pass some link juice, authority and stuff that you would need to get. But again, it's like matter of agreement. So if you're like agreed to only generate do follow links for your client, then like it's clearly unethical to not report, because like maybe some clients are not like familiar with even like rel tags as do follow, no follow. So then like you hiding some pretty bad stuff, and it's not good. But personally, I never promise something like that. So basically, if you like focus to generate links, generate relevant links before everything, and after that you can think about do follow or no follow tags.
I'm not really strong in link building, but I think this person is asking based on their conscience. Am I doing the right thing if I don't declare this? Should I feel bad? And then the tactics should be on getting traffic for your client or your boss. So do follow, no follow. Did you get traffic? That is what they are interested in. That is what every business or boss is interested in. If they do follow or no follow got them eyes and got them traffic to their website, you should report that.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, Simon said a link is still viable even without that tasty link juice. You never know who might click. But it depends really on, yeah, what you actually have agreed to your client. If you said, oh, I'm going to get you this many of the do follow links, and you end up doing all no follow, then obviously that's not correct. So I would actually focus on generating the exposure across multiple different sites to help promote that client and obviously drive traffic.
I feel this question is an interesting one because it sounds like they've got a boss that is focused on, that wants the output of links and is. I actually used to work with somebody like this going back a long time ago, and they'd want to know how many links has the marketing team got us this month. And I think a lot of this might be, you might need to think about how you manage up a little bit, and it might be a bit of an education process like you guys talked about in terms of why you're doing it in the first place, traffic, making your site better, trying to get conversions. And actually, if this boss basically just wants, I don't know, 30 links a month, that might be, that's not necessarily the right goalpost that you want to go for. And it might be a bigger question about talking about where, in terms of business strategy and marketing strategy, what do we actually want to do here? And then trying to educate that person and manage up and explain why. Because I think this person, if I was talking to this boss, I would basically say, need to be really careful, because if that is the only outcome you're looking for, that's a really easy thing to game. And that's when you start getting people doing the wrong things. So I would be quite careful about that. And I would have that conversation with the boss about, do you really want us to try and get 30 domain authority links of whatever? I don't think they do. So yeah, I don't know if I'm making much sense there, but I think I'm not sure the question's right. And I think the answer might be whether it's ethical or unethical. I understand why they're asking this, because they feel bad about this boss has asked them to get a certain amount of links, and they feel like some of these links aren't what this boss is after. But I think it's just need to have a different
Mm.
conversation, maybe. Sorry, I went on a bit there. Edward, did we have anything in the chat?
We said that Chris was saying they're meant to be a suggestion. Do you trust the site? So I think really it comes back to, let's not focus on do follow, no follow. Let's focus on relevant sites that generate exposure for that client. And I think this is, as you mentioned, part of a bigger maybe conversation where you're managing upwards, trying to get to those KPIs. What do they really want from it? It shouldn't really just be about ticking off, okay, I've got 20 links from this site and 10 from another. It should be about what's been the result, what is the traffic, what is the referrals, what is the conversions from doing this link building or this relationship building.
Yeah, like we have inquiries all the time for that sort of thing where somebody will get in touch with us and say, we want you to do link building and we want you to get X amount of links and so on to our website. And I usually go back with, I don't know if that is what you want. Obviously, I'll look into their website and try and work out what I would do if it's my business. But yeah, I get this problem because I've heard it quite a few times where people will obsess around something like that because it's tangible, like a number around the amount of links and so on. But yeah, what I usually say to those people that get in touch is, I don't think you actually do want that, and I don't think that's going to make a change to your website. My recommendation would be, and then I would come up with some alternatives. So I think maybe that person might need to do that.
Yeah.
Okay, next question. We've just gone through this one. Are there any SEO tools you consider to be under the radar gems or valuable for specific niches that you find effective?
That's
Yeah,
just
lots
a good
of
one.
yeah, lots of SEO tools. There are good ones, and one is Google Search Console. Of course, I have to say it because John is here, so I won't skip that. And yes, I enjoy Screaming Frog a lot as a technical SEO. It's very easy for me and it's detailed, and I enjoyed SEO ranking too. It's not so expensive and it's also good.
Great.
Yeah, SEO testing too is useful. Thank you, Simon.
Yeah, so from my perspective, I guess like I'm pretty analytical and data oriented. So for me, Google Search Console is the best tool anyway, regarding part of the on-page stuff, content, similar stuff to that, like indexing, stuff like that. Regarding the technical perspective, I can clearly agree with Ebere here that Screaming Frog is the most underrated tool, that I think it's not utilized the best and utilized the most by majority of experts. And regarding more unfamiliar tools, I'm not sure. I'm Ahrefs fan, unfortunately, still. But regarding some other tools, I worked with SE ranking. It's pretty decent tool again. So there is like a lot, especially right now with AI and stuff like that. I'm still waiting for something that like SEO community will come up to be actually applicable and actually super usable and super helpful. But I'm like, at the end of the day, I'm still looking towards Google Search Console for everything that they need. So that's my question. That's my answer, pardon, like to the fullest.
Great. Joe?
I really like Google Search Console because you can see like the queries. It's not just because certain people are here, but I do really like it because it's helped me to identify cannibalization issues. It helps me to identify as well, like clicks. It shows you as well, okay, if I've got the same impressions, for example, for some terms, but less click, why is that? It might be because I'm appearing for featured snippets, so people are maybe less likely to click through. It shows sort of the errors that we have as well. So I really go to that tool first if I don't have anything else. And that's the first one actually that I go to. Then secondly, I will look at SE ranking. I do that tool a lot. And of course, ages ago, I used to work at Searchmetrics and I really liked Searchmetrics. You could see overall like the market, did great competitive analysis. So Google Search Console first, also really SE ranking, and for doing crawls, which is within budget, I really like Screaming Frog.
Great.
And we have just a couple also from other people as well. Simon saying about Looker Studio. Yep, that's great. Yes, it's can be really useful for building dashboards. Keep an eye on all your profiles, on your properties. Apologies, GSC and GA4. Munier is a little bit biased. He's saying Wordlet is pretty solid, pretty solid tool for optimizing your schema market. Yes, I tried a little bit. I didn't go into loads of detail, but yes, I agree. And Simone saying it might be under the radar for everyone, but in case you haven't seen it, check out lowfruits.io. That's a good one. Simon's talking about SEOtesting.com, and Danny's mentioning about webpagetest.org to dig into page speed. Thanks very much, everyone, for your comments.
Great. I think one tool I love using, and it's quite expensive, so I tend to only use it when I need it, and I'll just subscribe for a month and then I'll cancel. But when I'm putting together a content strategy, I love BuzzSumo. I think it's really good for finding those topics or those posts that are related to, say, the client that I'm working on. And rather than just looking at traffic as a signal, what I like is you get all the social engagement metrics and so on. I know some of the other tools do that, but I just really BuzzSumo for the fact that you can go back. So you can also go through like kind of Q&A forums and things like that as well, and really build up a nice content strategy with that. I think one of the, in terms of under the radar gems, I think the actual search results themselves is really useful, particularly if you work in a certain industry, and taking a look at what they look like in other countries and just trying to like put together an idea of what people are doing in other places if you work in a particular niche, particularly if it's location based as well, your queries or your business. I love looking at what people are doing in LA or New York or Sydney if I'm working on a London business, because it just gives me a load of content ideas. And I never really hear about people doing that much. And the other thing is picking similar industries to yours that you don't compete with and looking at the search results for those, and then also digging into their websites. And I mentioned SEO testing earlier very briefly.
Yeah, and also Simon mentioned, and of course, Sistrix under the radar. Steve from Sistrix here. So if you have questions for Steve, here he is.
Yeah.
Great. So we've probably got time for one more question. So I'm just pulling them all to have a quick look. Goodness me. Okay.
We've got through a lot.
Any SEO hacks, trends, tricks you find particularly effective? That's one of them. Anything that's really working for you at the moment?
I can say,
Yes.
yeah. Ebere, you can go first here for sure.
So the SEO hacks and tricks and all of those things that work is doing everything for your users. Make sure the website is good for the user. Make sure the content is good for the user. Make sure. So anytime I'm doing anything, I'm assuming I am the user. I am the one behind or in front of the screen, and I'm checking if this is going to work for them. So once you are doing it for the user, definitely that hack is going to work.
And yeah, also as I said, yeah, and Simon, I got very good point there. Best hack, turn off your computer and get some rest. Yeah, that's pretty good sometimes. But yeah, I want to just like to add what Ebere said. There is no, as we said, elevator to success. You need to take the stairs always. So I'm not like a fan of hacks and quick schema methods, and I don't find them useful, and it's that they ever work, especially long term, regarding like the SEO. So I'm more focusing, as Ebere told, like that we optimize everything properly, that we like do things like user first, then like other things like behind that, good UX, good web optimization at the end of the day, and like very good research and fundamental to base our findings on. So that is like the only hack that I can say. And a lot of hours reading online, LinkedIn, and following different news and the things that's going on in the SEO industry.
Joe,
Yeah.
what about you? Any hacks, trends?
I would say there's a lot happening in the industry, so follow newsletters. I do really like the SEO FOMO because it has so much information there. It does a nice little summary of what's happened for that week, so I would go to that. Another one is learning.io. That's a latest.
Learning.io, I think.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
It's because that actually is really good. It helps you to, if you want to know about something in more detail, then you can go there. I'll share a link in the chat. And then I also wanted to say, just attend webinars and attend events. They're not necessarily a hack, but what it will do is it will help you to find out a bit more information about that area that you want to specialize in, or that question that you have, or of course come to sessions like SEO office hours, because I think with SEO it can be quite confusing. There's lots of different, everyone has a it depends answer, or many people do. So it's good to actually, that's what I think happens in SEO. We get confused. And so you thought, okay, I don't know what to look at, what do I listen to? So come to the events and actually discuss with people. And we've had a few comments in the chat. Simon saying best hack is to turn off your computer and get some rest. That's a nice one. Danny's saying, don't believe your web designer when he or she says, yeah, we can do SEO too.
I know, or web developer again. Like that's I think the best hack there. Danny, thank you for jumping in with that. We would probably forgot that one.
Yeah, I would say my best trick is or hack or whatever is not thinking about tricks, hacks, and so on. I think consistency is the main thing that's worked for us, is just finding something that works for your website, your customers, your users, that your business can do, and try and get into good habits. And then when you've got that working, find something else and add that to it, and so on, and almost like stack things up. Yeah, I've years and years of trying different things. That consistency and doing things the right way and doing it in your own way as well, I think is really important, not just copying your competitors, because most of the time they don't know what they're doing either. So yeah, that would be what I would suggest. Great. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you for all the questions that have been submitted. Thank you to speakers and everybody that joined. I hope it was helpful. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Ebere, and thank you, Nick. And for all of our attendees that have joined us live, it's a great session. And thank you so much for always being so interactive. We are growing every single week. If you want to join us and be a special guest, please email myself or Mike, or sign up on the SEO office hours link that you have signed up for to join us live. And yeah, hopefully see some of you very soon in person.
Have a lovely weekend. Bye.
Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye,
Bye.
everyone.